Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Bank Shot Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Friday, November 10th, 2023. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my $19 Bank Shot best bet, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here are the games for Friday in college hoops. First up, we see so many great games on the board on Friday in college hoops. This is one of them, Arizona and Duke. It's an AP ranked battle between number 12 Arizona, number 2 Duke. It's a true home game for Duke, so it's going to be 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN2. Both of these teams opened up the season with impressive wins over Division I opponents. Arizona against Morgan State, it was a 122-59 blowout win. Duke, another blowout win for them. It was 92-54 over the Ivy League's Dartmouth. So both teams looking to move to 2-0 on the season, but Duke has not lost a home game in quite a while. They didn't lose a single home game last year. All their losses were either a neutral site or true road games. Their last home loss was against the North Carolina Tar Heels. We know they're big rivals in the ACC back on March 5th of 2022. It is really tough to go into Cameron Indoor Stadium and take down this Blue Devils team. And, Arizona, while I think they're going to go on to do great things this year, and they're certainly as talented as ever and should contend for a Pac-12 title yet again, I just don't know. I don't love this spot for them on the road. Last year, Arizona wasn't the best team away from home. They lost most of their step-up games in their true road games. They played pretty well in neutral site, but they didn't have a single true road win over a top 40 team in Ken Pom. I do think Duke has a nice advantage in the front court in this matchup, both on the glass and also the points in the paint. I think we're going to see a lot of points in the paint for Duke in this ball game and going forward. It's probably the best front court in college basketball this year belongs to Duke. So I'm going to go with the Blue Devils here and lay the points. Should be a great game between two of the best teams in college hoops. Next up, we see Texas A&M, the number 15 ranked Aggies, travel to Columbus to take on Ohio State. This one's 7 o'clock Eastern on Peacock. Now, Ohio State was personally a team that I circled towards the end of last year, going into this season as a team that I thought we're going to get some value on betting early in the season. The first game against Oakland wasn't a great spot laying that big number, and they failed to cover that spread in the end. They still found the outright W, but in a game like this against a solid opponent, Texas A&M, it's a true home game for Ohio State. Expect them to have a really nice home crowd advantage. I think the Buckeyes take this game, and we see them as a small favorite, even though they're unranked playing a ranked team. Ohio State is still the favorite. Goes to show you how important home court advantage is in non-conference play in college basketball. But when you look at Ohio State last year, 16-19 overall record, it was a really disappointing season for a very proud program. But I think they were better than that record. They went on a couple losing streaks. It was ugly at times, but we saw down the stretch of the regular season and into the Big Ten tournament, they were playing their best basketball of the year, and they won their 2 of the last 3 regular season games against Illinois and Maryland, and then they won 3 games in the conference tournament against Wisconsin, Iowa, and Michigan State. So picking up some nice wins against tournament teams in the NCAA tournament from last year. I think Ohio State this year, like I said, undervalued because of those disappointing results last year. I think they are the better team in this matchup, and I like the fact that they're at home, so we have good home court advantage. Give me the Buckeyes laying a small number at home. Next up, we see San Diego State taking on BYU. This one's going to be a 9 o'clock Eastern start time. It's going to be on ESPN+. And yet again, we see a team that's favored on the road, a ranked team, 17th ranked in the AP poll, San Diego State, on the road against an unranked BYU team, yet BYU is a small favorite in this game, and I think for good reason. Again, I like BYU in this matchup. BYU is another one of those teams that I thought was better than its record last year. They were only 19-15. They were a losing record in West Coast Conference play, 7-9, but now they make the move to the Big 12 this season. They're playing a San Diego State team that they played last year on the road, played them really tough. It was a 7-point game on the road, not too bad for BYU, but now you're home for this rematch, so you're playing with revenge, you're playing with home court advantage, and BYU is a really nice home court advantage, and you're playing a San Diego State team that I think is a little bit less talented than last year's epic, run in the NCAA tournament. I still think San Diego State's one of the better teams in the Mountain West. They should be obviously the favorite to win the conference this year, and they'll probably make the NCAA tournament again. But on the road, BYU, last year, when you look at BYU in their home games in West Coast Conference play against Gonzaga and St. Mary's, the 2 top teams in the conference and 2 of the best teams in the country, it was a 1-point loss to Gonzaga, 75-74, and a 1-point loss to St. Mary's, 57-56. They played both of those teams really tough. BYU is a team I think is undervalued, underrated going into this season. I like their chances to pick up a big win at home. Give me BYU, the Cougars, laying the points. Next up, we see Davidson and Maryland. This one's going to be 7 o'clock Eastern. It's going to be on ESPNU. It's also part of the Asheville Championship Series game, so it's a neutral site game in this one. Now, both teams opened their seasons with a W. Davidson against a subdivision opponent. Maryland against Mount St. Mary's, 68-53. And that one, that was our bank shot best bet of the day that day. Mount St. Mary's plus the 20.5, 21 points. And, they found the cover despite shooting only 16.7% from three, which is a pretty big warning sign for me with Maryland. They only put up 68 points in that game. Their offense was not great. And, in a game where Mount St. Mary's shot so poorly from the perimeter, you would have thought Maryland would be able to cover the spread with ease, but they just weren't able to do so. Now you're playing a Davidson team that's just a lot better than Mount St. Mary's in basically all facets of the game. They're going to be a much better shooting team, especially from three. I think they're going to improve there a lot this season. Last year was a really down year for Davidson from the perimeter, but, McKillop teams always shoot the three very well. Davidson teams always shoot the three well. So I think they improved there. I think Davidson's got a much better front court, should be stronger on the glass in this game. The defense, while, Davidson's not known for its defense, I think it is still better than Mount St. Mary's at the end of the day. And I think Maryland laying way too many points in a game like this. I just haven't seen enough from Maryland to want to lay this big number in a neutral site game against a solid program that had a down year last year, but is still a very prestigious program. So give me the points here with Davidson in this neutral site ball game. I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see him win the game outright. And the final game we're going to talk about for Friday's card in college basketball, it's Missouri and Memphis. This one's going to be 9 o'clock Eastern. It's on the SEC Network, a true home game for Missouri in this one. Now, just my opinion, I think on paper, this is probably the least talented team that Memphis has had since Penny Hardaway took over as head coach. He's a really good recruiter. He, attacks the transfer portal really well. And while I still think Memphis is a solid team, I just don't think they're as talented as we've seen in years prior, especially the last couple of years. But one of the big worries I have for Memphis is that defense in that first game against Jackson State. Penny Hardaway teams are known for playing really strong defensively, but they gave up 77 points in that game. And that's a Jackson State team and program we just talked about on the Bank Shot Breakdown a couple of days ago, not really being known as an offensive juggernaut in college basketball. And then we saw them follow that performance with only scoring 61 points in a 26-point blowout at San Diego. Yes, the spot wasn't great for Jackson State, but it goes to show you their offense kind of settled down a little bit, and we saw what what we usually see from Jackson State. So for Memphis to struggle defensively against Jackson State, now having to go on the road against such a high-octane, potent offense like Missouri. I mean, we saw last year, Missouri was 44th in the nation in average possession length offensively, so one of the fastest teams in college basketball, but they were also top 10 in basketball in general in adjusted offensive efficiency. A really good shooting team that takes care of the basketball and should be able to score a lot of points in a game like this. We saw Missouri score over 100 in their first game of the season against a Division I opponent in Arkansas Pine Bluff. I don't love this Missouri defense at all times, but they're at home. I think they score a ton of points in this game. I think it's enough to win this game and cover the spread in the end. Give me Missouri laying the points in this one. And that's it. Those are the games for Friday in college basketball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.